I start by saying that it's always the aim at every season is to win something. We didn't manage to win a trophy this season. That said, I think the signs throughout the season were very encouraging. It was very heartening to see how much more responsibility our young players accepted throughout the season, and generally the performances that they put in. You think about the two Sams, Billings and North East, Bell Drummond, young Adam Riley had really good seasons considering, and it's definitely given us a lot of energy and a lot of anticipation looking forward to the seasons ahead. So I think it's been a very encouraging season. I was very happy with the run we had in 50 over cricket. I think we played some really good cricket to qualify for the semi-finals. Disappointed not to have gone on to a Lord's final, but I think the signs are there, and again I think we have a lot to build on going forward. One of the issues that we have as a squad is consistency. I think that affects every area of our cricket, batting, bowling and fielding. So for the players who we do have, there's a lot of work that they're going to be putting in over the winter to become more consistent players, and hopefully that translates into a more consistent team. I think there were many times during the season when we had opportunities to win games, and we suffered for lack of consistency, and that's an area that we continue to focus on going forward. In terms of personnel, it might be a little bit early looking at personnel going forward. What I do know is that we have a very talented bunch of players already contracted to Kent, and these are the players that are going to be the focal point of everything that we do going forward. And therefore the winter for us is to make sure that we get them in the strongest possible position, technically, mentally and possibly emotionally going forward, so that when we start the new season in sort of March, April next year, we're in a better position, but hopefully we come out a more consistent team.
And talking about that, obviously you're going to have very much the same staff to work with in terms of the playing staff. There's only one or two moving on, Gerrant and Mark, the two that have been confirmed so far, but how good is that to have all that concluded, so you know the players you can work with and plan their winters and preparations right? I mean, is that important for you as a coach?
Yes, it's very important having that measure of stability, which I'm thankful that we have here. Coming out of this season, going into next season by way of contracts. It's important to know who you have, and the sooner you know that is the sooner that you can start putting longer term plans in for their development over the winter, so that you don't end up, in a sense, wasting time. We have a pretty settled bunch of players in terms of people who have signed contracts, and it just means that working over the winter becomes a little bit more predictable, but in a good sense, and just more stability all round.
And yourself, you said at the club awards you pay tribute to your coaches and support staff, and yourself you're looking forward to the next year or two with at the helm of Kent Cricket as head coach.
Well, it's very hard to put into words just how pleased I am with the level of support that not only myself but more especially the players have gotten this season from the support staff. The coaches, all the coaches, Min, Ely, Walksy, Simon, all of them have made major contributions to what has happened this year. The practitioners, Sean, our psychologist, Dan and Nimo, physiotherapists, and John, our S&C, everybody has played a role. Straight up to our logistic support through Roz in the office, it's a team effort, and whenever you see anything happening on the pitch that looks good, believe me, there's a lot happening in the background to make that happen.
Do you have a favourite moment or a particular game in the season that will live long in the memory?
In a weird sense, it would have been the semi-final against Warwickshire. Certainly not for the result, but it meant a lot to me to actually qualify for a semi-final in a major competition. It means that a lot of good performances were strung together to get us there, and that means a lot to me, because somewhere in the season we had to be consistent to qualify for a semi-final. So it tells me that it is possible, that we have a group of players that can do it, and it gives me hope for the future, because it means that we can hold that up in front of them and say, listen, we're not talking about the impossible, we're talking about something that you've already done. So from that point of view, the semi-final against Warwickshire meant a lot to me this season.
Yeah. One final question from the members is about the batting order, because everyone has their views. As supporters, they talk about it in the bars around the game. How do you decide that? Because obviously you've had players like Sam Northeast who opened towards the start of the season, then dropped down the order. Sam Billings' form has asked people have been saying, could he play for higher up? What's your take on that? You have to balance the needs of the squad and their development.
Well, you're always looking out for what's best for the team. I'll start and end on that. If we feel it's best for the team, then invariably that's a decision we make. It doesn't mean that we always get it right, but certainly the beginning and end of that discussion for me is if we sat down and we thought that a particular batting order was best for Kent cricket and the Kent 11, then invariably that was the reason why we did what we did. You know, we can always reflect back, but in a sense that's where we start, that's where we end where that decision is concerned.
Is that something you take into account, or do you like to have a settled batting lineup, or is the format an influence in terms of who bats where in the order?
Well, the format definitely has an impact. That is one of the parameters under which we A, select teams, and B, look at batting orders, bowling orders and the likes. But that's part and parcel. That's modern day cricket. You have different formats, you're going to have different approaches, and people's roles might change from format to format, but that's what makes a county season exciting for me, and also it helps for quite a few players. It helps to broaden them as well, because it means that the players get to learn a little bit more about themselves and how easily or not they can adapt to situations.
One final question: have you got a message for all the members and supporters, obviously ahead of the new season and obviously going into the winter?
Well, first of all, I know I speak on behalf of all the players when I say a very big thank you for the support over the course of the year. We certainly have felt the support this season. There are some who pretty much every game they're a constant factor. They travel around the country and follow us. But even for those who are a million miles away and might just be following online if they can, everything counts. Everything counts. When we talk about trying to move a club and a team forward, it's not just going to be the players, it's going to be all of us, including yourself out there who may be local, or you may be outside of the UK, but you're still sending in your tweets and your emails and your Facebook messages of support. It all matters to us, and it all makes a difference, and just keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully we can give you much more in the future to be happy about.